We began the discussion on chapter 7, but before that, I just did a recap of the overview of the 18 chapters in the Bhagavad Gita. Not exactly an entire overview, but what exactly Krishna is doing in the Bhagavad Gita, we try to explain. How there are these first 6 chapters which are Karma Yoga, the last 6 chapters are Jnana Yoga, and the middle 6 chapters are Bhakti Yoga. That's one understanding. But actually, what the Gita is pointing out, how Karma Yoga ultimately leads to Bhakti Yoga, how Jnana Yoga leads to Bhakti Yoga. It is Bhakti which gives life to Karma, and yeah, yesterday we were explaining that. And ultimately, in the Bhagavad Gita, what Krishna is doing, he is proving the superiority of Bhakti Yoga over Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga, right? And within this middle 6 chapters, which we are going to study, Krishna is going to establish the superiority of what? Yeah, Ananya Bhakti versus Mishra Bhakti. So we will be studying quite in detail what is Mishra Bhakti. And then we went into a little bit of the first 6 chapters, which is called as what kind of bhakti it was called? What kind of bhakti? No. The bhakti which is practiced within the first 6 chapters, whether it is Karma Yoga, Ashtanga Yoga, or Jnana Yoga, what type of bhakti it is called? How many of you are not here today? Please raise your hands because one. Yeah. Yesterday. Yeah. Okay. So the whole flow, if you break the class, then you'll not get the flow. And some are missing, I'm saying. Some Prabhus were there yesterday, they are not here today. So, what type of bhakti it is called? Whether it is Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga, what type of bhakti it is called? Not Gauna. Guni Bhuta Bhakti. So, what exactly Guni Bhuta Bhakti means? That actually the pradhan practice is actually karma or jnana or ashtanga. But bhakti is there as a secondary element in it. Because without bhakti being there, karma cannot give its fruit, jnana cannot give its fruit of liberation, or ashtanga cannot give its fruit of liberation. So there is no direct practice of actually bhakti. There is direct practice of karma, jnana, or ashtanga. So bhakti is there as a secondary element, just to assist the process of karma, jnana, or ashtanga, right? And that is why, I mentioned the terms used: Bhakti Mishra, Karma, Bhakti Mishra, Jnana, Bhakti Mishra, Yoga. So Karma, Jnana, and Yoga, which come in that, actually the sadhana practice is what it is called as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Ashtanga. Now, if you carefully observe, the terms are used by Prabhupada. There is no Bhakti mentioned there. It is Karma Yoga. It is Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. There is no bhakti, there is no bhakti practice there. Because bhakti is in a secondary form there. Gaunam. It will take some time to digest. At least, you all had your prasadam, right? Everyone had prasadam? Okay. So when you take prasadam, it takes how many hours to digest? How many hours? 3 hours minimum. But when you drink milk, now milk stays in the body for many, many days. That's the potency of milk. So in the Shastra it is mentioned Vidya Kalina Pachati. Vidya what? Kalina Pachati. So what you will be hearing now, it will take a long, long time to digest. At least few years of sadhana, 5 to 10 years of sadhana of studying the Bhagavad Gita. So try to, you will understand what I'm speaking. I'm not going to speak anything which is you will not be able to figure out. But you have to, try to understand what I'm trying to say. So there is no bhakti. as a practice. That's why it's called as Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, or Ashtanga Yoga, right? And I mentioned yesterday why Ashtanga Yoga is within the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Why it is that? If you see Dhyana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga it's part of what? First 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. It's within Karma Yoga. What is the reason you mentioned? What is the reason?
Also, physical practice control mind.
There is Yama Niyama Asana. There are Aruruksha Munir Yogam, Karma, Karana. Okay, there is karma. Within Ashtanga Yoga, there is karma also. The first 4 limbs are karma. So that's why it is Ashtanga Yoga is also falling within the category of Karma Yoga. It's Karma Yoga. And we mentioned Sakama Karma or Kamya Karma is Swarga. It's not yoga in one sense. Because the destination has to be transcendence of the self. Then only it is yoga. Only when it is Nishkam Karma Yoga has a Gyan element in it that I practice, actions as per my nature, but I don't desire the fruits. That is Gyan. So as we do this Nishkam Karma Yoga, when the Jnana matures, you become a Jnana Nishta. And that is what is called as a Sita Pragya. And then you become qualified to practice Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. That is the entry door. Sthita Pragya is the entry door for practicing Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. This is the point, And the Sthita Pragya Lakshans are mentioned in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, 2.55 to 2.7. So the Jnana Yoga and the Ashtanga Yoga paths are there ultimately which lead to liberation. This is the first 6 chapters. And then we came into the middle 6 chapters. And I mentioned that Krishna is, going to compare what type of bhakti? Shuddha bhakti versus Mishra bhakti. And what does the term Krishna uses? Ananya bhakti in the Bhagavad Gita. That is the term. Rupa Goswami uses the term Uttama bhakti. Kapil Dev, Nirguna bhakti. And I mentioned how many verses are there in the Bhagavad Gita where Ananya bhakti is there defined? How many verses? How many verses does Krishna speak about Ananya bhakti? 8 verses, 11 verses. Let us see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 verses. In the entire middle 6 chapters, Krishna is speaking only just in 13 verses about pure bhakti, and rest all of the discussion is about what? Mishra bhakti, and is comparing Mishra bhakti to Ananya bhakti and establishing the glory of Ananya bhakti. Ananya bhakti. And we will see Mishra bhakti starting maybe from today or tomorrow. There is Karma Mishra Bhakti, Jnana Mishra Bhakti, and Yoga Mishra Bhakti, which is there in the 7th chapter and the 7th chapter end. Now, this Shuddha Bhakti leads to Vraj in 4 rasas in Gokul, but as this Mishra Bhakti leads to Shanta or Dasarati in Vaikuntha. So then we began the discussion on the first 3 verses of the Bhagavad Gita. Sorry, the first 3 verses of the 7th chapter. The glory of the knowledge about Krishna. Maya Saktamana Partha Yogam Yunjan Madashaya Samshayam Samagrama Yatha Gyasasi Tat Shunu. And we explained how by the process of Anvaya, when you rearrange the words in a logical structural way, then it begins from where? Shunu, Tat Shunu. The goal is what? The goal is what? Maya Saktamana. That you have to become attached to Krishna. Asakta Mana means I mentioned that this is the only verse in the 7th chapter which is speaking about Anyanya Bhakti, pure devotion service. Asakta Mana. Asakta Mana, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says is Asakti stage. Once you attain the stage of Asakti, you have conquered material existence. You're done. That's Asakti stage. So to Krishna, right in the beginning of the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita is mentioning the stage of Asakti, the goal. And how to attain that? He gives these 5 stages. The first is what? Start hearing about Krishna. And then you start knowing about Krishna, Gyasasi. And when you start knowing about Krishna, what will happen? Samshaya, all the doubts about Krishna will be dispelled. And then you will take shelter of Krishna, Madhashaya. And then taking shelter of Krishna, what will happen? You will perform yoga. Yogam Yunjan. Now we are in yoga with what? With this world. Now we have to become Viyog from this world and attach to Krishna. So this yoga here means what? Here yoga means what?
Yes.
Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. And then asakta mana. Asakta manam. So these are the 6 stages we mentioned yesterday within the flow. And then we covered the verse that Krishna is now presenting a different worldview, an attitude, how to see this world. The karmis see this world as a place of enjoyment. The jnanis see this place as a place of entanglement, illusion. But the devotees see this place as an energy of Krishna, which they have to utilize in Krishna's service. So Krishna is going to give that jnana, knowledge, no? How to see the Lord, no? Because ultimately we have to become attached to the Lord. I mentioned yesterday, if you remember, that in study there are 2 types of study we can do. What are the 2 types? Anyone remembers? Let us see. Yes.
Aesthetic.
And analytics. Aesthetics is beauty. You know, the flower, when you see, you see the color, how it is shaped. But from an analytical botanist, we'll see how to break it and see all the parts. So the Jnana Yoga or the Ashtanga Yoga is more of analytics. But aesthetics means beauty. Beauty means you have to have the bhav, the emotion. And you need an object of devotion. So Krishna is the object of devotion. So Krishna is going to speak about himself, who is the object of Vishaya, who is a Vishaya, right? So Krishna is going to speak, and that's why repeatedly in the middle 6 chapters, Krishna is going to say what? Ma. Whereas he has not spoken about himself in the first 6 chapters. Very few verses. Yesterday we saw that whole analysis, right? How many verses? Just 23 verses he has spoken. How is the object of sense control in 2.61? How is the object of offering of karma in 3.30? And how is the one who uh, distributes timeless wisdom? The Avatar Katha is there, 4.1 to 4.15. And then, how is the goal of all yagyas? Bhaktaram. And then, how is the object of the perceiver's yogi's vision? You can see, no, the verses in the 6th chapter. Okay. So we discussed that yesterday in the first verse. So the first verse is speaking about the exalted goal, that by this knowledge, what is the goal you are going to attain? You are going to attain attachment to Krishna. You will get attachment to Krishna. And I mentioned that purification first happens of what? Intelligence. And with the purified intelligence, you control the mind. Now we know with intelligence that overeating is not good. When the prasad comes, no, all the philosophy goes in the background. And we overeat and then we have trouble. Why did I overeat? Because the mind is attached. So when the intelligence is purified, with the purified intelligence, you control the mind. So first the intelligence gets purified and then the mind gets purified. And that purified mind, when it is attached to Krishna, then we have conquered material existence. So this is the point yesterday we were discussing. We discussed the entire purport threadbare. And the process of understanding Krishna, these verses of the Bhagavatam are very important. Yesterday we discussed quite a lot. And now in the next verse, Krishna speaks, he starts speaking, that what knowledge is going to go. Jnanam teham sa vigyanam. So yesterday we discussed what is jnanam and what is vigyan. Phenomenal knowledge and numinous knowledge. How many of you are able to understand it? Raise your hands. This phenomenal knowledge and numinous knowledge. Yes, Mataji, what's your name? Take the mic, take the mic.
Panchali Devi. Panchali.
Panchali Devis. Yes, Mataji. So tell me, what is
Real this is based on our senses, what we perceive through our senses. And luminous knowledge means beyond our senses.
Independent of our sense perception, that object, seeing that object independent of our sense perception, that is phenomenal and numinous. Okay, so today we will be now studying that phenomenal and numinous knowledge in detail. It will come up. Okay, and we discussed this phenomenal and numinous knowledge, and then how Vishwanath Chakra Thakur mentions Gyan as Aishwarya Gyan and Vigyan as Madhurya Gyan. My powers, how Krishna's energies, how is the source of the Bhairanga Shakti and the Tatastha Shakti, these energies. And Vijnana means understanding the sweetness of Krishna, that how Krishna is merciful to his devotees, how Krishna protects his devotees. I gave the example of what yesterday. You remember to understand this? And two friends, both are schoolmates, and then they grow up. They both are having that same friendship, but now he knows the glory of other friend that he wants, big empires. He's got so much Aishwarya powers, but yet, he comes to my simple hut and little whatever I offer, he eats. So that his relationship with his friend deepens because of what? Not because of the Aishwarya, but because of the Madhurya. So this is Krishna, Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayak, the owner of all the universes. And then, what is he doing at the battlefield? He's become a charioteer. That is how Krishna is introduced in the Bhagavad Gita as a chariot driver of Arjuna. Gudakesh. Sanjay mentions Gudakesh. Just because this came, I'm just speaking. Now, what is Gudakesh, Gudakesh means good means what? Everyone knows what is good? Jaggery. And Akesh means one who gives nectar to even Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. One who gives nectar to whom? Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu. A, Kha and Isha refers to Shiva, Brahma and Vishnu. Now when Krishna, Arjuna says, Senayor Ubhayor Madhe, and Krishna out of prema, bound by the prema of his devotee, he is driving the chariot and taking it in the middle of the battlefield. And up in the sky, all the three netras, three murtis, Brahma, Shiva and Vishnu, they are thinking, my goodness, see the power and devotion of Arjuna, that, our Lord, whose orders we obey, he is ordering our Lord. See the devotion. This is Gudakesh. So this is the sweetness. So Krishna is going to express, that's the Madhuri Gan in the 9th chapter, and then both together in the 10th and 11th and the 12th chapter. So it will come up. I'll just give a brief when we come to the 9th chapter about the 10th, 11th, and 12th chapter, although I'm not taking, because the flow, you'll at least understand the continuity of the flow. And basically, 7th, 8th, and 9th is Gyan and Vigyan. Gyan and Vigyan. Okay. So we discussed the phenomenal and numinous knowledge. What is transcendental knowledge? Anyone knows definition of transcendental knowledge? Transcendental knowledge. Yes, Vidul Prabhuji.
That is beyond the three modes of materialism.
We have to stick to how Prabhupada is defining we are studying the Bhagavad Gita now. Yesterday I spent a lot of time trying to explain this. Yes, what is your name? Adinath Brajesh Babu. I'm trying to, okay. Transcendental.
Correctly, it is about Jagat, Jeev, and Jagdish.
Yes. And what does Prabhupada use the term? Matter, spirit, controller of both. What degree you have to attain here? Which degree you have to attain? MSc. Matter, spirit, and controller of, not BSc, MSc. No? You have to attain MSc degree. And then how rare this knowledge is. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschid etati siddhe yatatam api siddhanam kashim vam vritti tatvata. How rare this knowledge is. Okay. So yesterday we went through this purport also. Now we are continuing the discussion from verse 4. From verse 4 to 7, Krishna is the source of everything material and spiritual. So Krishna starts now giving that knowledge. So let's recite verse 4. Bhumi rapo analo vayu manor buddhireva cha karitiyam me na prakritidashtada. So I was mentioning that what is jnanam? Jnanam teham savijnanam. Krishna spoke na in the second verse. So what is jnanam? Raise your hands. Huh? What is jnanam? Yes, Prabhuji. What's your name? Akinchan. Akinchan Chaitanya Prabhu. And our Prabhu is what? Adinath Brajesh. Akinchan Nitai Prabhuji. Akinchan Nitai. Akinchan Chaitanya Prabhu. Yes. You're from Bengal. Braj. Okay. Yes. Jnanam is what? Jeev, Jagat and Jagadishwar. No, you have to raise your hand first. Yes, Mataji. Phenomenal knowledge. Phenomenal knowledge. Krishna said that he will give the phenomenal knowledge. And I mentioned phenomenal knowledge means phenomena, what you can see with your perceptions. So this entire material world is composed of what? This Prakriti is what? 24 elements. So this is what type of energy this is of the Lord? Bhairanga Shakti. Bhairanga Shakti. The Bhairanga Shakti. So Krishna is now going to speak about what? That, the two energies. The two energies, that is the Bhairanga Shakti and the Tatastha Shakti. Tatastha Shakti will speak in the next verse. And how he is the source of both. How is the source of both? Both the Bhairanga and the Tatastha Shakti. And ultimately, he will say that, he is going to speak about his own Swarupa. That how he is the source of the Lord, of both these energies. So he is going to speak about his own Swarupa. So that's how we can know Krishna. No? So now he starts giving that Gyan, that Aishwarya Gyan. Now, Krishna is the source of both these, and he is ultimately, his Swarupa is the cause of both these energies. So that will come up in 7.7 Bhagavad Gita. Okay. Now there is a very interesting term here used, which is called as what? Bhinna Prakriti Stada. That is my pen. I've just started using this after a lot of insistence. Otherwise, I like to use the board but can't go back and forth. So I just started using this in my online classes, and that's why. So there is this Ashtada. Ashtada and Ashta has a lot of difference. It's not 8. It is 8 divisions. That's why Prabhupada, see the word to word meaning, he says eightfold. He doesn't say eight. It is eightfold. So there are 8 divisions. And Krishna is saying it is Bhinna. Bhinna, Prabhupada says, as separated energy. So why it is separated energy? Now, firstly, we'll try to understand in a very philosophical way. And then Prabhupada very sarcastically also explains this. It is Bhinna because it is not existing in the spiritual. So it is a separated energy. That's why it is separated energy. And Prabhupada gave that classic example. Anyone knows the example of that, explaining of that Bhinna Prakriti? What example? Yes, Mataji. What's your name? Simran, can you take the mic? What is the example?
The example of the cow and the milk, so the milk is the separated energy of the cow.
Okay.
And also, Prabhupada gives the example that when he speaks, then it's recorded.
Yes.
The voice separated energy.
Energy, yes. Yeah, Prabhupada gives this example of, that I am there, and then, you record my voice and you play that recorded voice. Now, that recorded voice is Prabhupada's voice, but it is a separated energy. Now, that recorded voice cannot exist without the original person speaking that voice. So, in that sense, it's Bhinna. And once, one lady reporter, I think, she asked a question to Prabhupada, if God is so beautiful, why this material world is so, disastrous or so horrifying that so many things happen? Just like you are beautiful, but your stool is not beautiful. So it's a Bhinna Prakriti. Very heavy. Yeah. So this material world is actually, that's how Mahaprabhu compares. Enjoying this material world is, it's like that. And we all know the example of that dry stool and the wet stool. The karmis. So that kind of an example, very heavy they give. Prabhupada very, very, very naturally Prabhupada speaks this, like that. So that's the Bhinna Prakriti, the Ashtada Prakriti. Now let's go to the Ashtada Prakriti, because without understanding this Ashtada, it's difficult to understand what Prabhupada is trying to say in the purport. So let us try to understand this Ashtada Prakriti. So, Omir Apo Analo Vayu Kham. So this is what? Earth, water, fire, air, and ether. Now within this is their sense objects. What is the sense object of earth? Smell. Water? Taste. I hope you're all familiar with the Sankhya philosophy. Fire is what? Form. Air is what? Air is touch. Ether is sound. So how many total now? 10. And Bhumir Apo Anulo Vayu Kham Manor Buddhi Revaja. Ahankar Itiyam Me. So the Ahankar is there, false ego, right? Ahankar is there. So here the Acharyas explain Ahankar means the products of Ahankar. Products of Ahankar. Now what are the products of Ahankar? These are the Karmendriyas and the Jnanendriyas. And plus what? Mind. Plus the mind. So how much this is? How much is it? This, how many Karmendriyas are there at least? How many Karmendriyas are there? First let us know. 5. Who will answer? Let us see. Raise your hands. How many Karmendriyas are there? 5. Who will answer? Yes, Prabhuji. Tell us. What are the five karmendriyas? Eyes are karmendriyas. Yes, Prabhuji. What's your name? Sarveshwar Keshav Prabhuji. Yes, take the mic.
Hands, legs,
Anus and genitals.
Yes.
Which is the fifth one?
what is the tongue?
It's not the tongue, it's a voice.
Voice.
Voice. So these are the five karmendriyas. What are the five gyanendriyas? Adinath Prajesh Guruji. Now you acquire knowledge from what all senses?
I,
Mm.
tongue,
And touch. So these are five gyanendriyas. And then there's a mind. So how much is the total?
never.
12. How is it 12? Ego, the false ego. So this is 12. Okay? Are you clear?
Yes, yes.
And then there is what? What does Krishna say? Bhumi Rapo Anulo Vayu Khamanor Buddhi Revacha. So there is Mana. And there is Buddhi. Right? So this Mana refers to a vector. This Mana refers to what? A vector or pradhan. We call. And Buddhi refers to the Mahatattva. Mahatattva. Okay. So this analysis Krishna does in the Bhagavad Gita. In the which chapter of Bhagavad Gita he does this analysis of these 24 elements? Anyone knows? Anyone knows where he does the analysis of these 24 elements? Our Madhushresh Prabhuji knows about it. We had recently discussed. Yeah, where does he does? 13th chapter, 6th verse. So let's recite this. Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhiravyaktameva cha indriyani dashekam cha panchendriya gocharaha. Mahabhutani. Mahabhutani refers to the Pancha Mahabhutas, 5. Ahankar here is only Ahankar, false ego. 6. Buddhi. Buddhi, as Prabhupada says, is here intelligence. Avyakta is unmanifested, which is Pradhan. And here in 7.4 it is what? Mana. Are you able to follow? Mana. And then Indriyani Dashekam cha. Indriyani Dashekam cha refers to the Karmendriyas, Gyanendriyas and the mind. Okay? And Panchendriya Gochara means Indriya there and Indriya goes and does charan. You know, guy, guy do charan in what? Grass. So our senses go and do charan of what? They are sense objects. So these are the 5 sense objects. So how much is the total here now? Mahabhutani Ahankar is 5. Ahankar is 6. Buddhi is 7. Avyakta is 8. Indriyani Dashekam cha is 11. 19 plus 5. How much is it? 24. Okay. Are you clear? Is it clear? So this is what Ashtada Prakriti Krishna is speaking here. It took me many years to understand what Prabhupada is trying to say in the purport. You know, when you go through the purport now, it will become clear what Prabhupada is trying to say in the purport here. Okay. So I hope this clear understanding you got now. How this is Ashtada is equal to 24 now here in this verse. Is it clear or no? How many of you have questions with respect to this? 1, 2, 3. Okay, hold on. Let's start from here. Mataji, you can start reading the purport. And
The science of God analyzes the constitutional position of God and his diverse energies. Material nature is called Prakriti or the energy of the Lord in his different Purusha incarnations, expansions, as described in the Satvata Tantra.
okay, let's recite this Vishnu. Vishnustu त्रीणि रूपाणि पुरुषाख्यानतो विदु एकं तु महतः सृष्टिर् द्वितीयं तु अण्डसंस्थितं तृतीयं सर्वभूतस्थं ध्यानि ज्ञात्वा विमुच्यते. Translation.
For material creation, Lord Krishna's plenary expansion assumes three Vishnus. The first one, Mahavishnu, creates the total material energy known as the Mahatattva. The second, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, enters into all the universes to create diversities in each of them. The third, Kshirodakshai Vishnu, is diffused as the all-pervading supersoul in all the universes and is known as Paramatma. He is present even within the atoms. Anyone who knows these three Vishnus can be liberated from material entanglement.
We have all heard this verse, Vishnu Trini Rupani, but how many we have deliberated deeply that just by knowing these three Vishnus, what will happen? You'll be liberated. Vimuchyate. Vishesh Rupena Vimukti. That means you will attain Vishnu. So the Sankhya analysis of these 24 elements of creation, which is discussed in detail in the second canto and the third canto of the Bhagavatam, has to be thoroughly understood, especially in the Kapli Shiksha. Because just by understanding, you will become disentangled from these 24 elements. And you'll be in yoga with the Purusha, that is the Vishnu or Lord Krishna. Okay, further.
This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna. These Purushas are called incarnations. Generally,
So these three Purushas, Mahavishnu is the super soul of Pradhan. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of each universe. And Shirodakshaya Vishnu is the super soul of each and every living being and even the atom. So that's how there are these three super souls. And all three are Purushas, but yet they are super souls. You have to understand this. These are three Purushas.
Generally, one who does not know the science of God, Krishna, assumes that this material world is for enjoyment of the living entities, and that the living entities are the Purushas, the causes, controllers, and enjoyers of the material world. So Prabhupada here is explaining the attitude of the karmis. The attitude of the karmis is they want to enjoy this world. But you can enjoy what you can create. Right? So you are not the creator of this world. That's why you cannot enjoy. So this is the foundation, the mool. So right from the foundation, Prabhupada is trying to explain that this is the energy of Krishna, Shakti. There is Shakti and what? Shaktiman. The Shaktiman is called as Purusha. And the Shaktis are called as what? Energies. Or in Sanskrit, they are called as what? In Sanskrit, they are called as what? Prakriti. Purusha means, it's not just masculine. Purusha means enjoyer. And what does the Purusha enjoys? His Shaktis. Okay, further. According to Bhagavad Gita, this atheistic conclusion is false. In the verse under discussion, it is stated that Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this.
Yeah, you have to hold on, as we are discussing each of the statements. So Krishna is saying that this is what? My energy. Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. Bhinna me. So Yesterday I was explaining, the terms Gyan and Vigyan. Many times in the Bhagavad Gita will come, but in different contexts, the meaning is different. Yesterday we were having the discussion. So within the first 6 chapters also, the Gyan, what Krishna is speaking, that Gyan is Atma Gyan, which will keep you free from bondage. That is Atma Gyan. But here Krishna is saying Jnanam Te, I am going to give you that knowledge. This Gyan is Bhagavad Sambandha Gyan. How Krishna's energies are working in this world. Because they are Krishna's energies. But this, there are 2 types of Gyan which are spoken in the first 6 chapters. One is one which keeps you free from bondage. Another type of Gyan is by the path of Gyan or Ashtanga Yoga by which you can attain liberation. Okay? This is compared to a patient who is in the hospital. He's diseased and that's why he's in the hospital. Now, while he's in the hospital, he's taking treatment. He should be careful that he doesn't catch infection. So, Atmagan means you will not be bound. But that doesn't mean that you'll be liberated, right? Ultimately, the patient, not only has to get treated of the disease and not catch any infection, but he has to come out of the hospital, right? Come out of the hospital. So by Atmagyan, by practicing Nishmam Karma Yoga, one will not be in bondage. Brahmanadaya karmani sangam taktva karoti. Lipyatena sapapena padmapatram evam dasa. 5.10, I think, in the Bhagavad Gita, right? But the process of Jnana Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga, where there is meditation on the Paramatma, 5.17 Tat Buddhas Tad Atmanas Tanishta Tat Parayana Gachanti Jnana Nirdota Kalmasha, it's mentioned there. 5.17. Yeah, Tad Buddhas Tad Atmanas Tanishta Tat Parayana Gachanti Apunaravrtam Jnana Nirdota Kalmasha. Gachanti Apunar Avritam. He will not come back again in this material. So this Gyan is what? This will lead to liberation. But what type of Gyan is now Krishna giving here in the Bhagavad Gita 7.4? He is giving the Gyan by which we can connect to Krishna. We are seeing the energy in relationship with the energetic. How this energy, who is the source of the energy? The energetic, that is Krishna. By which we are connecting in yoga with Krishna. And that yoga is what? Bhakti Yoga. So by practice of Bhakti Yoga, Prabhupada, as he explains, by practice of Bhakti Yoga, what happens? We become attached to Krishna, so we naturally become detached from this world or matter. Are you able to understand this? So if you remember in the 6th chapter, when Arjuna put that question, that it is very difficult to control the mind. What did Krishna answer? Abhyas and Vairagya. So now he is actually giving the real answer here in the 7th chapter. That you need not practice separate Vairagya. There in the purport, if you study Prabhupada's purport, now Prabhupada is mentioning that practice of devotional service, knowledge and detachment are byproducts, he says, right? Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita Janeti Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Yad Ahetukam. So Krishna is giving now this Gyan when in the 7th chapter, this Gyan means what? Bhakti Sambandhit Gyan. Okay. So this is what, the energy of the Lord. Yeah. Read further.
The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord. Even Brahma Jyoti, which is the
Where
ultimate.
did it come? The material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. That's what we read, right? Right? 3 Vishnus. Yeah, correct. That's why you read here. Don't read in your book. You read here in the slides.
This material world is a temporary manifestation of one of the energies of the Lord. All the activities of the material world are directed by these three Vishnu expansions of Lord Krishna.
The three Purusharthas I explained.
Generally,
Yeah, this also we read. This is also. Is the original cause of the material manifestation. This is the point where we were discussing, right? Krishna is the original cause of the material manifestation. The energy is Bhinna Prakriti, Bhinna me Prakriti Ashtaka. So this was the point of discussion I was having. Yeah. Further.
Srimad Bhagavatam also confirms this. The ingredients of the material manifestation are separated energies of the Lord.
The Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a detailed discussion in the second kind of third chapter.
Even the Brahmajyoti, which is the ultimate goal of the impersonalists, is a spiritual energy manifested in the spiritual sky.
Yeah, the Brahma Jyoti is a spiritual energy. Please remember that. Okay.
Because there are no spiritual diversities in the Brahmajyoti, as there are in the Vaikuntha Loka, the impersonalists accept this Brahmajyoti as the opposite of the temporary material energy. The Paramatma manifestation is also a temporary, all-pervasive aspect of the spiritual vishnu. The Paramatma manifestation is not eternal in the spiritual world. Therefore, the factual absolute truth is the Supreme Personality of God Krishna.
So Prabhupada is in this purport proving that ultimately the absolute truth is not Brahman, Paramatma, but it is Bhagavan. It is Bhagavan.
He is the complete energetic person and he possesses different separated and internal energies.
So he's a complete energetic person, Shaktiman. And he possesses what? Shaktis, different Shaktis. And now in this verse, which Shakti is being discussed? The Bairanga Shakti.
In the material world, the principal manifestations are eight, as above mentioned.
Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Right? And then there is one Buddhi and Ahankar.
Out of these, the first five manifestations, namely earth, water, fire, air, and heat and sky, are called the five gigantic creations or the gross creations, within which the five sense objects are included.
So this already I explained you, right? Mahabhutani, Panch Mahabhut. Panch Mahabhut, within that there are the sense objects. Right? Okay.
They are the manifestations of physical sound, touch, form, taste, and smell. Material science comprises these 10 items and the theme.
So Prabhupada is here saying in the material field of science, they only are dealing with what? The Gyan Indriyas and the Tanmatras. That's it. Of course, there is a field of psychology where they go into the mind, but that's all speculation. They cannot really understand the mind, you know. You can't locate where the mind is first of all. So that's why Prabhupada says, material science comprises only of this.
But the other three items, namely mind, intelligence, and false ego, are neglected by the materialists.
So these are the five great elements and the sense objects. Okay.
Philosophers who deal with mental activities are also not perfect in knowledge because they do not know the ultimate source, Krishna.
So because they don't know that ultimately, generally psychology is studied as, the science of the mind, but psychology is actually to do with what? The psychic behavior of the soul, has to do with the soul. Because without the soul, there's no other question of existence of the mind, the subtle body and the gross body. That's why Prabhupada says that, because they don't know the source of Krishna.
The false ego, I am, and it is mine, which constitutes the basic principle of material existence, includes 10 sense organs for material activities.
So Prabhupada, you see here now, I mentioned Ahankar and its products. Aham and Mama. This is Ahankar, and it constitutes of all, includes the 10 sense organs.
Intelligence refers to the total material creation called the Mahal Tattva.
So Prabhupada is here, Buddhi is saying is what? Mahal Tattva. And then,
Therefore, from the eight separated energies of the Lord are manifest the 24 elements of the material world, which are the subject matter of Sankhya atheistic philosophy. They are originally offshoots from Krishna's energy and are separated from him. But atheistic Sankhya philosophers with a poor fund of knowledge do not know Krishna as the cause of all causes.
So here Prabhupada is explaining, these 24 elements are a study even in by the atheistic Sankhya. So Krishna Sankhya and Kapila Sankhya are one in terms of goal. But the Sankhya propagated by atheistic Kapila, that doesn't point out to the cause of all causes. Ultimately, the source is Krishna. That's why they are atheistic. They are atheistic. No? Do you need this fan here? No, no. Is it okay? What about you here? You need this? Fan causes me headache. Okay.
The subject matter for discussion in the Sankhya philosophy is only the manifestation of the external energy of Krishna as it is described in the Bhagavad Gita.
So they only deal with the 24 elements and not the source of the 24. Here Krishna is proving that. Bhinna mein prakriti. Okay. Do you have any questions now regarding this verse? Yes, Prabhu, take the mic.
You mentioned in the slide, mana is referred to the intelligence, not intelligence, the unmanifested
Vyakta.
pradhan.
Pradhan, Vyakta.
So this generally mana also means
Mind,
mind.
yeah, but
So this has
it had different meanings.
meanings.
Yeah, based on the context. There directly in 13.6 it is avyakta. Mahabhutani ahankaro buddhir avyaktameva chesar. So there it is directly used as avyakta. And indriyani dash ekam. So their mind is not being mentioned. Dash ekam. Ekam refers to the mind there. So it's different terms used for different context.
In this connection, then can we understand mind and this unmanifested pradhan have some connection? Is there because the similar term is being same term is being used?
No, no. You have to study the Kapil Shankha in detail, then you'll come to know more in detail. I cannot go into it now. Any other question anyone else had? Anjan Mishra.
One sentence it is mentioned that intelligence refer to the universe or Mahatattva.
Mahatattva, yeah.
How it is being Mahatattva.
You have to study the creation, which is described in Kapil Shiksha in the second canto, the third canto. Actually, the term used is Mahat Buddhi. It is used as what? Mahat Buddhi. I'll just give you a brief idea just to make it clear. There are these three terms: Pradhana, Mahatattva, and Prakriti. Okay. Now, Pradhan is unmanifested where the three modes are in equilibrium. This is before Mahavishnu glances. By his glance, there is agitation. And because of the agitation, what happens? The equilibrium is broken, and then the first element which is created is what is called as the Mahat Tattva, or the Mahat Buddhi also it is called. And this is called as also Ahankar. Now, how you will say now how it is called as Ahankar? And Prabhupada explains, just like we have the Ahankar here, which is a junction between the soul and the body. Similarly, the junction between the spiritual world and the material world is what? The Mahatattva. So that is in a universal sense, at a sameshti level, and a veshti level, individual level, it is Ahankar element in this body. Okay. So that's how you have to understand. So the Mahatattva, the Mahatattva ultimately it has all the, as the creation progresses, from the subtle it starts becoming gross, and all these elements manifest. Because of Ahankar, in the mode of goodness, passion, and ignorance. In the mode of goodness, the mind has created passion, the senses, intelligence, and the pranas. And in the mode of ignorance, the elements and the tanmatras. Okay. So it's basically Mahatattva only. In one sense, there is ahankar, when I, speak something very harsh to you, your ahankar is hurt, right? Yes or no? We say that. But this body is also product of ahankar only. Everything is ahankar. But it's different manifestations. The karmendriyas, jnanendriyas. But everything is the whole material world is a manifestation of ahankar only in one fact. That too in tamas. So in that sense, Mahatattva is Mahatbuddhi. Is it okay?
Right. I have understand that.
Can we hold the mic in?
Ahankar is that quality that it is just the separate identity.
Yes,
Separate.
that is in the individual, but in the universal creation, it is, another thing is, how to these terms, the pradhana, mahatattva, and prakriti are interchangeably used, but they have meanings in different contexts. Now, we give the example, and this example is to make the point clear. Just like, between a male and a female, when the male glances, at certain point, it is like pradhan, but when the glance happens, there is agitation in the heart. Okay. So that's like the Mahatattva. And because of the male and female union, there is child which is born, which is Prakriti. So the whole universal creation also at a universal level happens. Mahavishnu glances at Durga, which is Pradhan. And because of the glance, there is agitation. So the Pradhan is when it is in equilibrium. When the agitation happens, there is, the modes, the modes are shaken. And then there is combination which happens. So when the, uh, when it is an unmanifested state, it is pradhan. But when there is agitation because of glance, then it is mahatattva. And then when the creation happens, it is what now we call this as what? Prakriti. And that's why Krishna in 7.4 he is using the term Bhinna me Prakriti Ashta. He is not saying Bhinna me Mahatattva or Bhinna me Prahadan Ashtada. It's Prakriti. It is manifested. Okay. Whereas in 13.3 and 4, he will speak about Mahatattva there because there he is going to glance and create the creation. So, like that, these terms are interchangeable, and all this comes in the Kapil Shan, Kapil Shiksha, the third canto. Okay. Text 7.5. Let's recite. Let's recite together so that you can say that. Aparyamitastu anya prakritim vidhi me para Shivabhutam Mahabhavo Yedam Dharete Jagat. Besides this, aparayam itastu anyam. There is another superior energy. Prakriti vidyame param. Aparayam means, besides this. Besides this means beside what I have spoken in 7.4. There is anyam, there is another prakriti. Now it's interesting. Krishna says this is another prakriti, but it is what? Param. It is superior prakriti. Vidhi. Whenever Krishna uses the term Vidhi in the Bhagavad Gita, he is trying to tell, try to understand. What does Prabhupada say here? Vidhi? Where is it? Try to understand. Try to understand. Try to understand. It's another energy, superior. Although it is what? It is also Prakriti, but it is superior. Superior. And it is what? Jiva Bhutam. So Jiva Bhutam is plural. It is Bahuvachan. That means the aggregate of all jivas. The aggregate of all jivas. Jiva Bhutam. Mahabhavo. Actually, in the whole Bhagavad Gita, this is very beautiful, mellow which is happening when Krishna and Arjuna are discussing. We are trying to break our head and trying to understand Bhagavad Gita. But when Krishna and Arjuna are discussing Bhagavad Gita, they are relishing rasa. When Krishna addresses Arjuna as, Mahabhavo, sometimes Arjuna addresses Krishna as Mahabhavo. So there are different shades and meanings. And what the meanings, only they know. And the acharyas know. So although Arjuna, you're Mahabhavo, you're mighty armed, but because you're a jiva, you're bound in this Bhairanga Shakti. So that is the import of the meaning of Mahabhava here. No? Ye idam dharete jagat. Now, ye idam dharete jagat means, it's very sarcastic. Krishna is very sarcastically saying, the jivas who are all in the prison house, they're all prisoners, and the prisoners think that they are running the prison house. We feel that, if I don't do anything, this world will not run. No? Actually, this world is created for whom? For us only. Otherwise, there is Krishna doesn't need to create this. Because we want to become Ishwar, Krishna, we are trying to control this world. We have to, we need to become a controller, manipulate material energy to have that sense of what? Controller, you know. So this is Maya, and we think we are controllers. Everything is happening by what? Prakritiya kriyamanani gune karmani sarvasya ahankar virmudatma karta. I did it, but actually Prakriti is executing. But you think I did it. So to give that false sense of controllership, this whole creation is there. Yedam dharete jagat. So prisoners in the prison house are thinking we are running the prisons. And actually they are what? Bound in the prison. So very sarcastically Krishna is speaking, Yedam dharete jagat. Okay, Mataji, you can read the Prabhupada, next Prabhupada.
It is clearly mentioned that living entities belong to the superior nature or energy of the Supreme Lord.
Prakritim vidyam me param, superior energy. Prakriti vidyam me param.
The inferior energy is matter manifested in different elements, namely earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and possible.
So there are these different terms, used. Para prakriti and apara prakriti. Right? Para prakriti and apara. Para prakriti is what? Jivas. The apara is
Material.
materials. And in the Upanishad terminology, there is also the term used. I don't recollect. No? Okay.
Both forms of
No.
both forms of material nature, namely gross, earth, etc., and subtle, mind, etc., are products of the inferior energy.
Yeah. Can you read a little loudly? Hold the mic a little close. Both forms of material nature, namely gross and subtle, are what? Inferior. Sometimes we say mind over matter. Have you heard this term? But mind is also made of matter only. So there is no mind over matter. So Prabhupada is making that clear. They are products of what? Inferior energy.
The living entities who are exploiting these inferior energies for different purposes are the superior energy of the Supreme Lord. And it is due to this energy that the entire material world functions.
It is due to this energy. This energy means which energy? The jivas. The jivas. No, the entire material world is functioning. Okay.
The cosmic manifestation has no power to act unless it is moved by the superior energy, the living entity. Energies are always controlled by the energetic, and therefore the living entities are always controlled by the Lord. They have no independent existence. They are never equally powerful as unintelligent men think.
So Prabhupada is mentioning that actually it's not the jivas who are controlling this cosmic manifestation. It is what? It is ultimately the Lord who is controlling both these energies. Is controlling both these. So we are what? In the Chaitanya Charitamrita Sanatana Shiksha, this point comes up. You know, Lord is Maya Adish. And the jivas are what? Maya? Huh? What? Maya Adhin. They are controlled by Maya, whereas the Lord is controller of Maya. That's the difference. Now he quotes the verse from the personified Vedas from the 10th canto, 87th chapter. Just read the translation.
O supreme eternal, if the embodiment living entities were eternal and all pervading like you, then they would not be under your control. But if the living entities are accepted as minute energy of your lordship, then they are at once subjected to your supreme control. Therefore, real liberation entails surrender by the living entities to your control. And the surrender will and the surrender and that surrender will make them happy. In that constitutional position, only can they be controllers. Therefore, men with limited knowledge who advocate the monistic theory that God and the living entities are equal is all respected are actually guided by a faulty and polluted opinion.
So here the personified Vedas are refuting that the jiva is equal to God. If that is so, then they would not be under the control of Prakriti. So the jivas are also superior energy. They are, in one sense, what? Conscious. The Lord is also conscious. Whereas matter is what? Inert. But the Lord is supreme conscious. Whereas the jivas are individual conscious. So all this is discussed in the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, right? Our consciousness is not all pervading in the universe, right? Right? So the Lord's consciousness is all pervading in the universe. So that's the difference. So there is a difference between Vibhu Chaitanya and Anu Chaitanya. We are Anu Chaitanya. And that's why we are completely under the control of the Lord. And the process is to be under the shelter of the Lord. That is surrender. Jivera Swarupai Krishnera Nityadas. So this is the point being made. Read further.
The Supreme Lord Krishna is the only controller, and all living entities are controlled by him.
Which verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita substantiates this statement? Ekala Ishvara Krishna Arsava Bhritya. Even Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu's, all are Bhritya. Read.
These living entities are his superior energy because the quality of their existence is one and the same with the Supreme, but they are never equal to the Lord in quality of power.
In quantity of power. So this is the difference.
While exploiting the gross and subtle inferior energy matter, the superior energy, the living entity, forgets his real spiritual mind and intelligence.
So he forgets his real spiritual mind and spiritual intelligence.
This forgetfulness is due to the influence of matter upon the living entity. But when living entity becomes free from the influence of the illusionary material energy, it attains the state called mukti or liberation. The false ego, under the influence of material illusion, thinks I am matter and material
Acquisitions
are mine.
Aham and Mama.
His actual position is realized when he is liberated from all material ideas, including the concept of his becoming one in all respects with God. So even the conception that, I am God, which is the monoist have, Aham Brahmasmi, I'm one with God, So even that conception, when they are free, then they can understand. Bhuktir hitva anyata rupam swarupena vyavasthita. Therefore, one may conclude that the Gita confirms the living entity to be only one of the multi energies of Krishna, and when his energy is freed from material contamination, it becomes fully Krishna conscious or liberated.
When we come free from the influence of the three modes, then you're free from the contamination, and then we become fully Krishna conscious. Okay. So now Krishna spoke about these two energies, the Antaranga Shakti, sorry, the Bahiranga Shakti and the Tatastha Shakti. Now he speaks that how he is the source of both these energies. Let's recite together. Etadyonini bhutani sarvanityupadharaya aham krishnasya jagata prabhavat pralayastata. Etad here means these two natures. Referring to which all verses? 7.4 and 7.5. Etad. Etad means these two natures. All created beings have their source in these two natures. Etad yonini bhutani. Of all that is material and that is spiritual of this world. Sarvani nitya upadharaya. Know for certain that I am both the origin and dissolution. Aham Krishnasya. Krishnasya doesn't mean Krishna. Krishnasya means completely, no? Or all inclusive. Jagata Prabhava Pralayas Tatha. So Krishna is speaking here how he is the cause of both these energies. So here in this verse, Krishna is speaking how there is the Maya Shakti. The Maya Shakti is spoken in which verse? Which verse Maya Shakti Krishna spoke about? 7.4. Thought you forgot, so we say. And Jiva Shakti? 7.5. So this Maya Shakti is also called as Kshetra. And this is called as what? Kshetragya. Okay, so this will come in the 13th chapter. And both these sources, who? It is the super soul. And he is also called as Kshetragya in the Bhagavad Gita, but he is Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. That's the difference. No? Krishna is the super soul. And who is this super soul? He is which Vishnu? Shirodakshai Vishnu. Shirodakshai Vishnu. So who is speaking this verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Raise your hand. Who is speaking this verse in the Bhagavad Gita? Raise your hands. How many of you have read the Krishna book? Please raise your hands. How many of you have read the Krishna book? You have not read the Krishna book, no? So who is speaking this verse? And you are not able to understand the connection. What has that to do with the reading of Krishna book? You know? Who is speaking this verse? Huh? Who? Who is speaking? Shirodakshaya Vishnu is speaking this verse. You know, Prabhupada in the Krishna book, what he says, actually with Krishna, all the avatars also were there in Krishna. And it was not Krishna who was killing the demons. Who were killing the demons? It is the Vishnu who was killing the demons. He writes this, no? In the Krishna book you have read, no? Krishna doesn't do killing of demons. He is doing his leelas. In fact, he doesn't, material world also he gives it third party contract. To whom? Whom does he give this? Mahavishnu. When Krishna speaks Maya Dakshina Prakriti, who is speaking? Krishna is Mahavishnu. It is Mahavishnu. So it's Hirodakshaya Vishnu here speaking. So Prabhava Pralaya. Prabhava means, manifestation, and pralaya means annihilation, right? Now, Krishna has spoken about two energies, etad, right? He has spoken about etad. Yonini means the source. Who is the source of these two? Aham. Krishna is again using aham here, or mama, I. Krishna is pointing his finger to him. So, I am the source of this, two. And Jagata Prabhava Pralaya. So among the two energies, it is only the Maya Shakti which is created and what? Destroyed or annihilated. Because the Jiva cannot be created nor cannot be destroyed. This we have studied in the book. So we have to understand this verse very clearly. It's not that both these energies are created and destroyed. It's only the Bhairanga Shakti or the Maya Shakti. Jagata Prabhava Pralayas Tatha. That's why Krishna is using the term there, Jagata there. I hope you are able to understand this. Is it clear? Yes or no? Very good. Is it clear or no?
Yes.
Where is our Adinath Rajesh Bhagwan? Okay. Next, we can, yesterday, 1, 2, 3. Vidur Prabhu has to read. Vidur Prabhuji can read.
Everything that exists is a product of matter and spirit. Spirit is the basic field of creation, and matter is created by spirit.
Very important principle. This whole material world, the spirit is who? Who is the spirit there? Who is it? Garbhodakshay Vishnu. He is the Atma of this universe. And of course, he is a super soul there. So the creation of this body is there because there is a spirit. Without the spirit, matter cannot grow or expand. So similarly, this universe is like the body. And the soul is who? The Atma is who? Garbhodakshay Vishnu, super soul.
Spirit is not created at any stage of material development. Rather, this material world is manifested only on the basis of spiritual
energy.
This material world is developed this material body is developed because a spirit is present within matter. A child grows gradually to boyhood and then to manhood because that superior energy, spirit soul, is present.
So that's why we go through these 6 changes, Shad, Vikar.
Similarly, this entire cosmic manifestation of the gigantic universe is developed because of the presence of the super soul Vishnu.
So this is what Prabhupada is saying.
Therefore, spirit and matter, which combine to manifest this gigantic universal form, are originally two energies of the Lord. And consequently, the Lord is the original cause of everything.
Very important statement. Spirit and matter, the Jiva Shakti and the Maya Shakti. By the Maya Shakti, the whole universe is created, and the Jiva Shaktis are there in this Maya Shakti. So these two are the energies of the Lord. And who is the source of it? Krishna is saying, I am that. Further.
A fragmental part and parcel of the Lord, namely the living entity, may be the cause of a big skyscraper, a big factory, or even a big city, but he cannot be the cause of a big universe.
Nobody can claim that he is the cause of this big universe.
The cause of the big universe is the big soul or the super soul, and Krishna, the supreme, is the cause of both the big and the small souls.
Krishna is the source of both the big soul and the small. The big soul is actually the super soul. Actually, this term was coined by Prabhupada, super soul. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur had another term. You know what was the term Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used for super soul? He said over soul. Prabhupada had to coin new terms. Have you heard about this term? Transcendental before coming in Krishna consciousness. Sense gratification. You know, you will not come across these terms in the outside world, right? Prabhupada had to coin these terms because, for the English speaking world, yesterday we mentioned why did Prabhupada not do the Anvay for the Bhagavad Gita? What is the reason? That is because of his boundless compassion. Because we are not trained in, understanding, philosophy like that. We are not trained in philosophy. That's why he gave word to word meaning like that. Later on, I mentioned after many years of studying, then we should study like that. Then only we can understand the deeper meanings of the words. Right? But Prabhupada initially gave us directly the word to word meaning and not the Anvay. That is because of his compassion. So Prabhupada had to coin all these new terms. And Prabhupada used to say that even to think of one word, he has to tax his brain. Sometimes for hours together, he used to think for one term. Because there are no English equivalents to Sanskrit, language. Practically, Prabhupada reinvented the whole philosophy in the English language. The whole Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, you cannot understand, because the science of rasa, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used the term mellows, that's the closest where you can come mellows. But rasa, if you want only read the original Sanskrit terms, then you can understand, what exact emotion it is exhibiting. So Prabhupada had to coin big souls and the small souls. Therefore,
Therefore, he is the original cause of all causes. This is confirmed in the Katha Upanishad 2.2.13. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam.
okay, text 7. Now here Arjuna has a question. No, Krishna already said, right, that, he's the cause of both the energies, both the superior and the inferior. And, this he's the cause of the seed of these universes, right? He mentioned, right? But is there someone superior to this? I am the source of all these. But is there someone superior to this? So this is the question in Arjuna's mind. Krishna understands, and then Krishna speaks the next verse. Is there someone higher than the seed of this universe? That is Vishnu. And then Krishna speaks this verse. Let's recite this. Matta parataram nanya kintidaste dhananjaya mai sarvam idam proktam sutre manigana iva. So Krishna is saying here, Matta, beyond me, parataram, superior, na anyat, there is nothing else. And who is speaking here now? Krishna himself. He is Avatari Krishna. Because he is also the source of all avatars. He is the source of Vishnu. Nanyat. Kinchid asti Dhananjaya. When Krishna is addressing here as Dhananjaya, in the second chapter when he addresses Dhananjaya means, oh conqueror of wealth, you have to go and get wealth. But here, Dhananjaya means you have conquered and got a lot of wealth. Now you attain the wealth of knowledge. Understand this knowledge. So that is the import of the meaning of Dhananjaya here. So there is no truth superior to me. Mayi sarvam idam proktam sutre manigava ana iva. Everything rests upon me. Mayi sarvam idam proktam sutre manigana iva. So here there's a very important concept we have to understand. That is transcendence and immanence. When Krishna says Matta Paratram Nanyat Kinchidasti and Dhananjaya means that he is speaking about the transcendental reality. That I am the highest Vedam Vastavam Vastu. Right? That means he exists where? Where does he exist? In the spiritual world. Golokeva Nivasati Akila Atma Putu. So can we access Krishna who is there in the spiritual world? Being here, we are in the middle. So that transcendental reality, there is a transcendence. That means God who is spiritual, who resides in the spiritual world. That is his manifestation. But that same transcendental reality also manifests in this world. God who is completely spiritual and God within matter. God within matter, he is saying what? Mai sarvamidam proktam. I am pervading in this entire universe. How? Sutre manigana iva. Sutre manigana iva. Now, Sutre manigana iva, you have to understand. What does Sutre manigana iva? Now, we know that, when you have a pearl necklace, right? Now, all these pearls are there and they are in their places. Why? Because it is strung in a thread. You can see the pearls, but you cannot see the thread. So, even in this universe, how to see God? How to see God? That Krishna is saying. Within matter, how to see the God. No? So here Krishna is explaining that ultimately how to see the unseen. Because we cannot see Krishna in his transcendental existence as Sachidananda Vigraha, Sham Sundar Krishna. Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes.
100%. Or you can see.
Conditions taken.
Now my question is just to out of context. Have you seen Krishna? Think about it for some time. Take some time. Digest the question first. Have you seen Krishna? What happened? Who will answer? You all studied Isha Upanishads, right? I think this must have discussed there. Okay. Prabhupada discusses a lot in the Isha Upanishads about this concept. Now my question is, have you seen Krishna? Who will answer? Anjan, na? Anjan Mitra. Mitra. Calcutta. From Calcutta, Bengal. Take the mic. Have you seen Krishna, Gada? You have to answer yes or no. Don't give explanation. You have seen Krishna.
Yes.
Tell us.
When I go to see the Krishna Balaram Murti in temple, see that picture.
So you see that Krishna, it's Krishna, but Krishna manifested in this world in the form of Archamutri, made of material elements. So seeing God in matter means this. And there is non-difference also, you have to understand. So how to see how Krishna is all pervading in this universe? Mai sarvamidam proktam. Sarvamidam proktam means I am manifested everywhere. How? Sutre manigana iva. Now, we are aware that in the Abrahamic religions, God is pure. He is completely spiritual. He cannot manifest in this material world which is that place, they say. So that makes what? God inaccessible to us. Right? That makes God completely inaccessible, By deity worship, we can connect to Krishna, right? And that's how we can elevate our consciousness, become Krishna conscious. But actually, when you see the deity, do you see them actually as The Lord.
I feel, I myself think that who is standing as a deity is actually the Lord.
Yeah, but
My
do we have that realization is my point. It's not so easy. A Kanishta, and a Madhyama and a Uttama. It's only a Uttama Adhikari you can see directly, because he's got the spiritual senses. By spiritual senses, he can actually perceive. So it's like that. So the Lord manifests in the deity form so that we who can only see matter, we cannot see spirit. So how we can see through matter so that we can spiritualize our senses and gradually go on. So that's the reason the Lord comes. So that is accessibility. By immanence, he becomes accessible so that we can get gradually spiritualized. And from transcendence, ultimately we have to go, from immanence, you have to go to transcendence. Ultimately. That means we should actually see Krishna. Premanjuna Churita Bhakti Yam Sham Sundar. And one of the sannyasis was giving a lecture on entering in Vrindavan, lecture series on entering in Vrindavan. And he mentioned that, entering Vrindavan means you should actually be able to see Krishna face to face. Then you have actually entered into Vrindavan. Krishna is there, present. He doesn't leave Vrindavan even one step out of Vrindavan. Vrindavan Padam Ekam na Gacchati. But we need that eyes. And Krishna gives darshan to his premi bhaktas in Vrindavan. So that is real seeing also. So ultimately the immanence is there so that we spiritualize. And then ultimately we reach to the transcendence. So these are these two, uh, levels of manifestation of Krishna, the transcendence and the immanence. Okay, now let's read the purport. Who will read the purport? Yes, Prabhuji, what's your name?
My name is Niladri Vasi.
Niladri Vasi, Jagannathpuri Vasi. Okay.
There is a common controversy over whether the Supreme Absolute Truth is personal or impersonal.
Because here it is mentioned, Mayi Sarvamidam Proktam. So God is both, whether he is personal or impersonal. So there is always controversy.
As far as Bhagavad Gita is concerned, the absolute truth is the personality of God, Sri Krishna, and this is confirmed in every step.
So here in this verse, Matta Paratram Nanya, very clearly, there is no truth superior to me. Now what the Mayavadi says, ultimately the absolute truth is what? Impersonal Brahman. Right? It is impersonal Brahman. And these avatars who come in this world like Krishna or Rama, they are what? They are called what? They are called as manifestation of Brahman. And their term they use is what? Saguna Brahman. Right? Saguna Brahman. But ultimately the absolute truth is what? Nirguna Brahman. The absolute highest absolute truth is Nirguna Brahman. So now Srila Baldev Vidya gives a dig, to the Mayavadis here. Now if you say Nirgun Brahman is the highest, who is speaking this verse? Who is speaking this verse? He is saying Matta Paratram Nanyat. There is no truth superior to me. So that makes the point clear that which is the highest manifestation? Krishna, the personal form. Right? So that refutes the Mayavad theory. That's why Prabhupada is taking here.
In this verse in particular, it is stressed that the absolute truth is a person.
So if you see that if the Mayavadis say that actually who is speaking the Saguna Brahman, please understand this one. Try to carefully understand this. Who is speaking this verse? Saguna Brahman is speaking. Who is the Sagun Brahman? Highest absolute truth is what? Nirgun Brahman. And that Brahman who takes the form of Maya, that's what the Mayavadi philosophy is, right? They also think that the Lord's form is made of Maya. Avajananti Mamuda Manusham Tanmashut, right? 9.11 in the Bhagavad Gita, right? So, who is speaking this? If it is Sagun Brahman who is speaking this verse, he is telling it as there is no truth superior to me. So then their philosophy fails that Nirgun Brahman is the highest. Are you getting this point? No. Their philosophy fails. And ultimately it is Krishna who is Nirgun. He is beyond the three modes. So Nirgun means he is beyond the three modes. So Krishna is the absolute truth. That's what it is proved also. Okay.
That the personality of Godhead is the supreme absolute truth is also the affirmation of the Brahma Samhita Isvara Paraman Krishna Sachita Ananda Vigraha. That is the supreme absolute truth personality of Godhead is Lord Krishna, who is the primeval Lord, the reservoir of all pleasure, Govinda, and the eternal form of complete bliss and knowledge.
So Prabhupada gives now only one praman to establish that the absolute truth is a person. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha is a person. And then he says,
These authorities leave no doubt that the absolute truth is the supreme person, the cause of all causes. The impersonalist, however, argues on the strength of the Vedic version given in the
Shvetashvara Upanishad.
Shvetasvara
Upanishads. Okay, this I'll read. Tato yad uttarattaram tad arupam anamayam ya etad vidur amritaste bhavanti atetara duk ivapayati. This material world, in the material world, Brahma, the primeval living entity within the universe, is understood to be the supreme amongst the demigods. Tato yad uttara taram, human beings and lower beings. So that there's a gradation done. And then, but beyond Brahma, there is transcendence, who has no material form. Tad arupam anayamam. Superior to Brahma, after this Brahmalok, there is what? This transcendence, right? And it is arupam. So the Mayavadis or the impersonalists emphasize in this verse what? The verse which saying arupam. So arupam means no material form. But it also can mean what? Having a spiritual form. So that is the explanation given by the Acharyas. It has a spiritual form. In the Gajendra Moksha prayers, Arupaya Bahurupaya. That's what Gajendra prays. You have Arupaya and what? Bahurupaya. Arupaya means you don't have any form, but you take many forms. Becomes a controversy, right? What is this? You don't have any forms, but you take many forms. So what is the meaning then? How do you understand what is the meaning here? Arupaya, Bahurupaya means. Yes, Mataji?
Material form, but very spiritual.
No material form, but many spiritual. So Arupa here means that he doesn't have a material form, but he has a spiritual form. But they take that they know that impersonal Brahman has no form, and that is the highest. And is free from all material contaminations. Anamayam. Anyone who can know him, ya etar vidur, also becomes transcendental. Amrita bhavati. But those who do not know him suffer the miseries of material world. Atha itara dukkam eva piyanti. Those who don't know him will attain only dukkha. So ultimately here, if you see this verse, if you reading the verse, you feel that it is what? Ultimately the highest is what? Brahman. Now Prabhupada refutes that. Read.
The impersonalist puts more stress on the word arupam. But this arugam is not impersonal. It indicates the transcendental form of eternity, bliss, and knowledge as described in the Brahma Samhita quoted above.
So it is not impersonal, but it is transcendental form. Now he quotes the other verses. The other verses in the Shvetashwar Upanishads. So that verse which was quoted was 3.10. Okay. Now 3.8 and 9 substantiate this as follows. Vedaham etam purusham mahantam aditya varnam tamasar parasa tam eva viditvati mrityameti dhanyan panta vidyanyaya yasmat param na param asti kinchit yasmat naniyo no jayo asti kinchit vriksha iva stapto dvitishtanti kah tenedam purnam purushena sarvam. So I'll just read the translation. I know that Supreme Personality of Godhead who is transcendental to all material conceptions of darkness. Veda Aham, I know. Etam Purusham Mahantam. So here it is speaking about a Purusha, person. And what he is? Aditya Varnam Tamasa Parasnat. Only he who knows him can transcend the bounds of birth and death. So knowing the Purusha only, tam eva viditvati mrityum eti. There is no way for liberation other than this knowledge of that supreme person. Nanya panta videti anyaya. So by only knowing Vishnu, who is a person, not the impersonal Brahman, this previous verses are speaking. And then in the next verse, it says, actually it is saying the same verse. Matparataran Nanyat. There is no truth superior to that supreme person. Yasmat param na param asti kinchit. Matta parataram nanyat kinchit asti dhananjay. Yasma na niyo no jayo asti kinchit. He is smaller than the smallest and greater than the greatest. He is situated as a silent tree. Vriksho. Vriksha iva stapdo divi tishanti eva. That means he is situated in the spiritual world. And from there, the Brahma Jyoti is radiating from his body. And the whole manifestation of the material world is there. He illumines the transcendental sky as the tree spreads its roots. He spreads his extensive energy. So the Shaktiman, sitting in one place is spreading his Shaktis. Just like fire is in one place. And its Shaktis are what? Heat and light. Right? Sometimes you can see far off, you cannot see the fire, but you can see the light. That is the energy. So similarly, the Lord situated in Golok Vrindavan. So the Lord is both personal as well as impersonal. Fire is personal, it has form. But light and heat are impersonal energies of fire. So the absolute truth is both personal as well as impersonal. Read.
From these verses, one concludes that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is all pervading by his multi energies, both material and spiritual.
Okay. So any questions you have up till now? 7.7 till 7.7. One hand. Okay. Any other questions? Yes, Sudhir Prabhuji, take the mic. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. You were discussing about Paraprakriti and Aparaprakriti. As per my understanding, we say that the living entity is superior because it has consciousness,
Yes.
whereas matter is dead.
In it, yeah.
But in other sense, even though the living entity has consciousness, but material nature is so superior that it is controlling us by the form of three modes. So it seems to be the the strongness of which is greater seems to be different from what perspective we talk about. So then when it comes to controllership, material energy, we being under the influence of material nature and being influenced. So then we can say that material nature is superior in one sense than the living entity because it is controlling this. So how do we understand or refute this? How do we understand?
Did you get the question? Did you all get the question first of all? Yes. Yeah, it looks like, the Jiva energy is superior. The Bhairanga energy is inert matter, it is inferior. But although we are superior, the inferior is controlling the superior. How is it possible? That is possible because of the inconceivable energy, Achintya Shakti of the Lord. Because the Jiva has a desire to lord it over matter, and that's why the Jivas are true in matter. And matter being what? Energy of Krishna. It is under the control of Krishna. So the matter, that's why, although it is superior, the Jiva is superior because it is the Shakti of the Lord and the Jiva has the desire. That is why ultimately both these energies are working under the will of the Lord only. The Lord is the controller of both. So Prabhupada gives the example in the Chaitanya Charitamrita of, the fog. The fog example he gives. Although, the fog is very thin, but when the fog comes, it can cover completely and you become completely bewildered by the fog. And although you are so powerful, but still you cannot do anything about the fog, right? So similarly, because the Bhairanga Shakti is working under the Lord will, that is why it can overpower the Jiva. It is happening because of the inconceivable potency of the Lord. This is also the question asked by Parikshit Maharaj to Sukadeva Goswami in the second canto, 8th chapter. How it, how it is possible that the Jiva who is Ahadhatu becomes Dhatuvi, covered by illusion. It's because of the avidya potency which covers. It's happening by the will of the Lord, although it is a spirit. And ultimately, that's why uh, the Jiva has to surrender to the Lord. And the Maya Shakti, the controller is the Lord. When the Lord orders the Maya Shakti, don't touch him, then Maya Shakti cannot do anything. So it's like that.
And also, we were saying Shirodaksha Vishnu is the one who is speaking that verse 7 point. I don't exactly remember.
Yeah, I'm giving you different understandings, which Acharyas gave. Maya Dakshina is Mahavishnu speaking. In his Krishna is only speaking, but in his role as Mahavishnu. And when Aham Bija Pratapata, there again it is Mahavishnu there. So like that you can understand from different angles. So that's why I just brought out that Shirodakshina.
The question I had with that connection is material. He said that was it says both these energies are coming from me, but from a materialistic creation perspective, the material nature comes from Mahavishnu, if we understand it correctly.
Yes. Just
Not
Vishnu.
Not Shirodakshana Vishnu.
The super soul basically controls both matter and spirit at a functional level right now. At a creation point of view, at a creation level, it is controlled by whom? The energies are manifesting from Mahavishnu. So like that. Okay. Okay, so can we take a little few more minutes because as I mentioned, 2 days I'll not be able to be present on 18th and 19th. I just want to cover the syllabus. So can we take a few more minutes and finish one more section? Is it okay?
We have exam at 5:15.
You have exam at 5:15. Oral exam. What about those which we discussed in the afternoon? Is it possible so that I can come? Okay. So if you have exam, then you are not in the present mood to discuss the present. You are worried about the future now. So I don't want to keep you worried then. Okay, the next section is very simple. We'll take up tomorrow and then continue discussion. Grantha Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Koti Vaishnava ki jai. You have a question? Yes.
Prabhuji, the soul, the word soul, and sometimes spirit, matter and spirit, like it's used, soul and the spirit. So sometimes one spirit is used, and sometimes soul is used, and sometimes spirit, soul is used. So is there any significance?
Just synonymous. Yeah.
Spirit, soul, like spirit, soul. So it's there is no significance.
Yeah, there's no difference much. But living being, and Prabhupada uses the word living being now. Living being means there is soul as well as matter. Living being means soul, which is bound in matter, gross and subtle bodies. So that living being undergoes transformation, Shadvishas, 6 transformations. Whereas matter undergoes how many transformations? 3 transformations: creation, maintenance, destruction. Whereas we go through 6 transformations, Shadvikar. Like that, that's difference. Living beings is different. Is it clear? Hare Krishna. Yes, Mataji.
Well, it's earth, water, fire, air, ether, smell, taste. Fire would be
Form,
or
form. Rupa.
oh,
Form. Rupa. Gandha means smell. And then rasa means taste. And rupa means form. And then sparsha means touch. And shabda means sound. Is it clear? Hare Krishna. Where is the sound coming from?